When you hear the name Zimbabwe, one of the first African peoples you should know about is the Shona. They are the largest ethnic group in Zimbabwe, representing roughly 3/4 of the country's population, and their influence can be seen in Zimbabwe's language, music, traditions, politics, art and history. But who exactly are the Shona? Where did they come from? And how did they become the dominant ethnic group in Zimbabwe? Let's take a journey into the history and culture of the Shona people. The Shona are not necessarily one single tribe in the narrow sense. The name Shona is a broad linguistic and cultural classification that includes several related groups, including the Zezuru, Karanga, Manyika, Ndau and Korekore. Most Shona communities are concentrated in central, northern, eastern and southern parts of Zimbabwe. But their cultural and linguistic connections don't stop at Zimbabwe's borders. Related Shona-speaking populations can also be found in parts of Mozambique and Zambia. The history of the Shona is deeply connected to some of the most important civilizations of southern Africa. One of the most famous examples is Great Zimbabwe, the enormous stone-built settlement that gave modern Zimbabwe its name. Great Zimbabwe flourished between approximately the 11th and 15th centuries and became an important center of political power and long-distance trade. Its impressive stone walls were constructed without mortar, demonstrating the extraordinary architectural and organizational abilities of the societies that built and occupied the site. Great Zimbabwe is strongly associated with the ancestors of today's Shona-speaking peoples, although the history of the region is complex and involved different communities over many centuries. Trade also connected the region to the wider Indian Ocean world. Gold, ivory and other goods moved through trade networks linking southern Africa with coastal trading centers. This means the history of the Shona is not simply a story of isolated communities. They were part of a much larger African economic and cultural network. One of the most remarkable aspects of Shona culture is its artistic tradition. Shona communities are internationally famous for their stone sculpture, particularly sculptures created from stones such as serpentine and springstone. Shona artists have produced works exploring themes of family, spirituality, nature, and human relationships. Music is another important part of Shona culture. Traditional instruments include the mbira, sometimes called the thumb piano. The mbira consists of metal keys attached to a wooden soundboard and is traditionally used in musical and spiritual settings. For many Shona communities, music is more than entertainment. It can be connected to ceremonies, ancestral traditions, and community life. The Shona language is one of Zimbabwe's most important languages. In fact, Shona is one of the country's principal indigenous languages and is spoken by millions of people. But remember, Shona is not completely uniform. Different Shona-speaking communities have their own dialects, histories, and cultural traditions. For example, Manyika, Karanga, Zezuru, Ndau and Korekore have distinctive identities while sharing strong linguistic and cultural connections. This diversity is one of the reasons the Shona identity is so fascinating. It is a large cultural family made up of several related communities. Today, Shona people can be found throughout Zimbabwe, including major cities such as Harare and other parts of the country. Shona culture has also spread internationally through migration. Their influence can be seen in Zimbabwean music, literature, art, traditional ceremonies, and everyday language. And although modern life has changed dramatically, many Shona families continue to maintain connections to traditional customs, ancestry, and community values. So the next time you hear the name Zimbabwe, remember that behind the country is a rich tapestry of African peoples and histories. The Shona, the country's largest ethnic group, are part of a story that stretches from ancient stone cities like Great Zimbabwe to modern Zimbabwean society. Their history, language, art, and traditions have helped shape the identity of an entire nation. But here's the question. How much do you really know about the Ndebele, Zimbabwe's other major ethnic group? If you want to discover the fascinating differences between the Shona and Ndebele, stay tuned for the next episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video for more fascinating stories about Africa's people, tribes, and history.